Today on All Things 80s, I found Star Wars at the dollar store. Welcome back to All Things 80s. Now earlier today I was out and about, I popped into my local dollar store, and would you believe it, they had these Star Wars Hot Toys vehicles for sale. Now this type of thing normally would be of no interest to me, but when I took a closer look, I saw the price tag of $2.99. So I thought, I'll have some of that. So I picked up the first one I found, which was, of course, in this case, the Millennium Falcon. Looked on the back and saw that this was a commemorative series whereby they released a vehicle from each of the 9 movies. So I rummaged through the display. I could only find 5 unique vehicles, but that was okay. But ironically, the one vehicle that I really wanted was nowhere to be found, and that of course was Boba Fett's Slave One. So once again, anything connected to Boba Fett instantly sells out. They also didn't have any of the vehicles from the prequel movies, which isn't really a big deal, but upon closer inspection, in addition to the vehicle, you're also getting the parts to assemble a Death Star. So I may need to track down those other vehicles, but we'll see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these opened up and we'll talk about them. And all I can say is this price of $2.99 really is the true essence of Star Wars collecting, whereby children can easily afford something like this. And the packaging actually does look really quite impressive. You know, each one has its own movie poster, but we'll get to that in the close-ups. So let's just go ahead, get these opened up, and we'll talk about them. So these are the Hot Wheels Starships. Now, as I mentioned, we could not find any from the prequels, so we're going to start with number 4 of 9, which is Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. So it's a really nice little box here, I have to say. And of course, this is from the film A New Hope. And we have the poster here. Now the bonus, build a Death Star. So aside from the actual vehicle, we are getting the parts to assemble a Death Star. So yeah, now on the back, in fact, there's the part. So this particular vehicle contains this part of the Death Star. But here are the 9. In fact, no, in this instance, it doesn't show you them. So these were, I guess, released last year at some point, because the 6, 7, 8, and 9 are suggesting they were coming out in the fall of last year. But there's the assembled Death Star. But yeah, so I'm going to get this one opened up and we'll take a look at the figure and see what it's all about. Okay, so here we have Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. I've got to say it's got some really nice weight to it. However, whilst the main body is a metal of some sorts, the wings are definitely plasticky, but that's okay. I mean, for $2.99, I'm not going to complain too much. Pretty nice detailing on this. I have to say it's rather well done. Now, it did, as I said, come with the parts to assemble the Death Star, and this would suggest that this is more or less the midsection of the Death Star. So this thing is actually going to be pretty huge when it's fully assembled. This one is all metal. Very nice. Very heavy, actually. And it comes with a little display stand for this vehicle. So take a look at that. So I'm guessing this goes in here. Actually, no, this one goes in here. Does it? Good Lord, this is embarrassing. Let me see. Yeah. Oh, we also have the Imperial insignia. I don't know if you can you see that? There we go. It's quite a nice touch, actually. Yeah, very well done. Now, what the hell am I doing wrong here? Okay, that goes in there. And then just got to stick it into the hole. What the hell? Jesus. Oh, there we go. Just a bit of force, that's all. So this goes in here. Yeah, that's actually really nice. Yeah, displays rather nicely. Wow, I've got to say, in this day and age, you don't get a lot for your $2.99, but I can say this is definitely a fantastic deal. Extremely happy with this. And thinking back, $2.99 in today's money really is more or less what a Kenner figure was costing back in 1980. So this is sort of thing I want to see more of as far as Star Wars is concerned, because this type of thing can definitely be affordable to a young kid with his pocket money. You know, I'm not a fan of this current trend where all Star Wars, just because it says Star Wars, means it automatically has to be expensive, and does not allow kids to get involved in this type of thing. But for $2.99, any kid can get himself a nice Star Wars, I was going to say die-cast, but mostly die-cast, aside from the wings, vehicle, with the added bonus of parts to build a huge Death Star. So that was Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. We'll get on to the next one. Okay, so for the Return of the Jedi, they've chosen to give us speeder bike complete with a little biker scout, which is quite nice. Nice movie poster again. But this one does show you all 9 vehicles. So what I am missing is the Naboo Starfighter, Republic Attack Gunship, and the Jedi Starfighter, and of course Boba Fett's Slave One. But anyway, let's get this one opened up and take a look at the vehicle itself. So this time we have the speeder bike complete with a little biker scout. This again, good weight to it, and this one is all metallic. Very nice. Very detailed actually for such a small scale. Very good. And this time a very simple stand, but again we have the Imperial insignia. Let's get this on here. Yep, very good. No problems there. And this time the part of the Death Star is the, I was going to say it's, what is it, the super weapon part, you know, the satellite dish looking thing on the Death Star. Again, all metallic, and of course telling us it's part 6. So this is very nice actually. Very well done. Moving on. So from The Force Awakens we have a Resistance X-Wing fighter. But obviously when I first looked at these I assumed it was one of the classic X-Wings, but that's when I didn't realize they had one ship from each movie. But yeah, it still looks good, you know. The sequel trilogy, not necessarily a fan's favorite, but regardless, we'll take a look at the, I was going to say the figure, the vehicle inside. So here we have the Resistance X-Wing fighter. And as with the Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, it's quite strange that the majority of this vehicle is indeed metal, but the wings are plastic, which is rather annoying, given that those are the most likely to break off. But as it's not really a toy, it's more of a display piece, I can probably understand why they did that. And unlike the other vehicles we've looked at, this one does have the Rebel insignia. Hope you can see that. Is that coming through at all? Hard to tell. Take my word for it, this does have the Rebel insignia. So, give this one a quick display. Wow. Again, you've got to really push it into that tight hole. But, what the hell? There we go. And I've put it on the wrong way, I think. Ah, yep. And get that in. Yeah. Very nice. Very, very nice. And this, again, part of the Death Star. This is towards the upper end of things. And I did see there that this does connect to this part. So does it... doesn't actually give you any instructions, but I guess common sense, of which I don't really have too much. What the hell? Does this go in here? Oh, I get, no, that can't be right. Ay, ay, ay. This is quite embarrassing. What the hell? 7 of 9. Because this is like this. So this must, there we go. So I guess the other parts will connect. So you get an idea of what it's going to look like when it's fully assembled. Yeah, not bad. But yeah, this does look good. It's just a pity that they had to do one from each movie, because I would just rather have had them all from the original trilogy and had an original old school X-Wing. But, you know, from a distance it looks like any other X-Wing, but just something about the shape of the main part doesn't have that classic Luke Skywalker X-Wing feel to it. But regardless, it's a very nice model to display. So moving on, we've got 2 more to go. So number 8 in the series is Kylo Ren's TIE Silencer from the movie The Last Jedi. So yeah, looks good. I mean, in terms of vehicles from the sequel trilogy, I'm not necessarily into them in any way, but we'll check it out, see what it looks like. So, Kylo Ren's TIE Silencer. And once again, they've done it where the main body is metal, but the wings are plastic and, you know, quite bendy. So, you know, don't give these to young kids to play with, because I can guarantee you this stuff will break off. Now, this time the stand has the First Order insignia. Kind of get the light to reflect that. There we go. And as always, I'm going to have a problem getting this in. I get it. I kept on trying to stick it in the wrong way. So this one, quite nice. Again, it's not a vehicle that I've studied much. I've only seen the sequels probably a couple of times each, and even then, nothing about these newer vehicles really appealed to me too much. But anyway. And of course we're getting close to topping off the Death Star. Yeah, looks good. Can't complain. And on to the last one. And finally, to round things out, we have the Millennium Falcon. And it does, of course, have the round dish on it. It says here from the film, Episode 9. So, without further ado, we'll get this one opened up and we'll talk about the Millennium Falcon. So lastly, we have the Millennium Falcon, and this one it's rather strange in that there's a lot of plastic on the exterior. I'm only feeling weight in the center here. All the little embellishments are definitely plastic, including this dish, which need to be careful with that. Excellent detail, certainly, although ironically, they've left the cockpit is just, looks like the tip of a bullet. There's no detailing whatsoever on that. But all in all, it's a rather nice vehicle to display. So let's see how this one sets up. So there's definitely a way of, there we go. I kept on trying to stick it in the wrong way. Again, we've got the Rebel insignia. So that's interesting because I guess this is getting a bit nitpicky, but by the time we had Episode 9, the Millennium Falcon was part of the Resistance, and yet they've given us the Rebellion base plate. But that's just being really stupid and me being picky. But again, looks fantastic on its little stand. I think I will display these actually, they're rather nice. And to top it off, we have the top of the Death Star, which sadly is basically all plastic with just a supporting base that's made of the metal, but that's all right. So all in all, I think these are fantastic for the price. And even the way it's displayed looks really nice and really does harken back to the days of me being a kid collecting Star Wars, given that the price is affordable to children. And I just wish other companies who had the Star Wars license would kind of market things more like this rather than the high-end collectibles they keep putting out. These are fantastic value for money, I have to say. Very impressed, and given what $3 buys you these days, you could do a lot worse than get yourself one of these little Star Wars die-cast display vehicles. So those were the Hot Wheels starships, and I have to say I'm highly impressed by those little models, and the fact that they do come with the pieces to assemble a separate Death Star is a nice little bonus there. And as I said earlier, these are exactly what kids want to spend their pocket money on. None of this $20 plus for an action figure. $2.99 for a nice die-cast vehicle is exactly the price point that appeals to kids and also appeals to cheapskate adults like me. So I hope you enjoyed watching that, and I thank you for watching. Also, special thanks go out to the Patreons who support this channel. And finally, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and stay tuned for more videos from All Things 80s.